What is up in there? You don't need all them teeth where we're going. We got a big boy cam. How much water we got in the crankcase now? So we'll just ignore that. This engine's kind of like a party. It's not here for a long time. It's here for a good time. No, they didn't sponsor it. My wallet sponsored all these parts, but they did give me this hat for free. I don't know what's the worst that could happen. And just like that, with the magic of TV and the power vested in me by the state of Texas, feel my L4, my S1 barking again. Damn alien invasion. This has an OBD port? What the hell? There's what's growing in the ashtray. Get you some of that. So I ought to take a 10th off, cross-threading. That's what you want. Hey Siri, how big gap between her front teeth? I'm not hung up like a show dog. Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? Let's see if I can not lose a digit doing this. Chinese bolts that came with the Chinese headers, because the Chinese bolts came with the Chinese headers were 3/8 16 bolts, and it needed Chinese bolts. Skullet, compensation mullet. When in doubt, burn it out. What's burning? I think it's just seam sealer. Yeah, it smells like seam sealer. Isn't that a Nirvana album? Smells like seam sealer. Ooh, that popped. It's my wrist. Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special episode of the Fixin Rusty YouTube channel. We are back home today, about to start on our next project. This pile, 1988 Chevy S10. So I actually picked this truck up here a while back with the idea of doing some kind of, turn it into some kind of race truck. And as you can see, it's something all right. Interior on this unit has already been gutted for the most part. So what little there is to gut. We've got some HVAC stuff missing, glove box door that's broken off. But it's got a good windshield. I understand that's a thing. You can't have a broken windshield, so we're already ahead of the game there. And it has this sweet headliner in a little rat hole here. Yeah, I don't know what that is. What kind of material that is? Some kind of heavy. Huh. Kind of velour, or I don't know what it is. A little bit of rust, but not bad. It's just mostly surface here. I did get to look at the other side, and it's got a little bit around that drain. Some up there. It's not terrible. She was a manual shift. Oh, dash accent too. It's fun. Got a little storage tray along the bottom there. That's pretty neat. Oh, and it came with a new key cylinder too. So that's handy. We had to do that. You might remember in the C10. So that'll come in handy because this guy is broken here. Bucket O parts. Master cylinder. Fuel filler. I don't know, have to go through all that, see what's in there. Ooh, flush and fill kit. I'd keep that. But yeah, the guy I bought this from basically had the same idea. He wanted to turn it into some kind of a racing machine, and so he started the project basically prepping it, and he pulled the motor and transmission out of it. It was a 2.5 4-cylinder 5-speed manual deal, and kind of got this far with it. Oh, he did come with some parts, so I'll show you what I got here. Block off plate that was custom made. His buddy, I think, made that. Brand new oil pan, China oil pan for it. What else? Oh, somewhere around here in one of these piles, a set of motor mounts for LS swaps. So pretty cool. And as you can see, we've got a smorgasbord of parts and bits and baubles back here to go through. I see wiring to figure out. There's brake pads for something, cross member, reservoirs, shifters, HVAC, hubcaps. I do like these. They're cool. A seat. What is going on? Okay. I was gonna try to use that, but I don't know. What the hell? Look at all that. Chew marks. What is up in there? Something been living up in there. There's our bezels, upper hose, our grill. She's missing a tooth. That's okay. You don't need all them teeth where we're going. Bumper. No rear bumper, but that's fine. Don't need a rear bumper. Probably better that we don't have one. It's lighter. This side, fairly straight. not bad. A little dent in the bedside there, but there's no, like, you know, no major rust or anything. A couple of speed holes here. Door panels are pretty good. Yeah, doesn't work. Oh, it's gonna go all the way though. It does. Yeah, that's half the battle there. Perfect. I guess the extra one there. I did check our RPO code. She's got a 373 gear, so we can work with that, I think. This is, I think it's broken off. Yeah, she's broken right there. We got some more wiring to get out of here, but yeah, pretty solid. I mean, surface stuff. I mean, some's a little heavier than others, but not terrible. Maybe it's okay. Just don't push down too hard on that spot, and you'll be okay. But I think it's okay for the most part. Yeah, this velour business is gonna have to go for sure. We got a slider, so that's good. Since we don't have AC, you might want to kick that guy open. Cowls off of it, but it's in the back. Wiper stuff, I don't know about. I don't need that, I guess. So we can ditch our antenna. Let's see what's under the hood here real quick. Alright, got the hood off there. This whole front end, this whole front clip was taken off, and he just had it in one piece, so we just literally had to sit it up on here and strap it down to get it home. So, but he's done a lot of the hard work. Engine transmission's out of it, HVAC's out of it, firewall was already cleaned up and, you know, painted. I'm not real sure why the master cylinder was taken out. I hope it's still okay. I'd try to do this on a budget, you know. I did notice she's got the manual steering, so I don't know. I guess we can work with that. I think that was a race car thing at one point. I don't know if it still is, but it seems to be pretty tight, everything here. I need to get under it, get it up on jack stands, and just see what exactly we're working with underneath here. But yeah, it's been, cooling's been taken out of it, and yeah, that's the truck. She's pretty basic, pretty simple, pretty cool rig. If we're gonna race this thing, we gotta have something put in it, and as you saw the oil pan over there already, a lot of you probably already recognize that's an LS pan. So we do have an LS for this thing, so let me show you that real quick. Here we go. This is our 6.0 liter. This is an LQ9 flat top, high output, whatever you want to call it, 345 horsepower or whatever they rated them at. 6 liter out of a, what is this, 02 Escalade, one of the ESTV, I don't know, one of the ones with letters behind it. It was like, looks like an Avalanche, that thing. She was very nasty, very oil leaky. This one's got about 270,000 miles on it, so it's just getting broken in. Ring should be good and seated now. So that's perfect for what we're wanting to do here. But I got a bunch of goodies coming for it, well, a few. Some of the things we are going to do is we got a big honking cam, and I've already got a oil pump and a lifter set. Not lifter set, sorry, a timing set for it. So we got a big boy cam, some springs, push rods for it, and we're doing a carb swap on it. We're going carburetor because we're trying to keep it as cheap as possible. The only things I'm spending any decent amount of money on is anything to make it go fast. I may swap the heads. I do have a potential lead on some 243/799 casting heads to take these 317s off and put a little bit better flowing head on it. Can get that pretty cheap. But yeah, that's gonna be about it. Stall converter, got that on the way. I gotta get a turbo 350, another one. I think I got a buddy that's got one of those that might have been good in another project when they bought it, so we might try that. That's what we got. So this is going to be a fun one, as you can see here. Let me flash back in time here a little bit, and I'll show you how this 6.0 came to me and how it started out and how nasty it really was. I'll see you back here in just a minute. All right, it's time. Let's get our old nasty here scrubbed down and ready to go so we can get this thing washed. I got three cans of, what is this, scrub-free oven cleaner. Dollar Tree, $1.50 a can. There you go. We'll spray this bad boy down and get to washing this nasty pig. We've got our engine all torn down here now and ready to get this thing pressure washed, but let me show you something. That looks night and day better. I pulled a valve cover off this side of the junkyard and it looked pretty good under here, as you can see. So I felt confident in it, even though it has like 270,000 miles. And just pulled the valley cover. Let's just verify. And man, that looks good. No carbon buildup at all, just the dirt and crap that fell in when I took the cover off. That looks like a winner. And on this side, looking good, looking good. So we'll get some oven cleaner on this guy and we'll go ahead and start pressure washing this pig, clean it up, knock this four-wheel drive transmission off. I don't need that. Originally, my thought process was to put this in the Blazer, but once I started and kind of really looked at that Blazer, it's too rough and I cannot justify putting an LQ9 6-liter in that Blazer. So we got a new home for it. There we go. Hammer down. What a mess. Yeah. Stuff's vicious. Empty. One more can. All right. Good enough. How much water we got in the crankcase now? Let's find out. A bunch. That's just water. I'm a sweaty mess, but we got the engine cleaned up here. Looking pretty good. Got the transmission knocked off of it over there. Not too bad. Cleaned up pretty decent. I don't see any issues with it. This truck was wrecked, hitting the right front, and it did hit the AC compressor that sits down here. So I checked all these bosses over real good. I don't see any damage or anything, no cracks. Looks good. And just to confirm, she is a 6.0. And what else did I notice? Looks like it's had a rear main seal put on it at some point. So that's fun. Dish flex plate, I think we're gonna have to do something about that to mate up to a turbo 350. There's your 6.0 again. Spark plugs looked pretty good except for one. Pretty fouled there on the one. That was on number 5. So we'll just ignore that. And then now we'll so the plan here is to change the heads anyways. This has got, of course, 317 heads on it. I've got a lead on some 243s. So I think that's in the plans. We'll get on Marketplace and try to snag those and swap heads on this guy here. I think that's about it for right now. I'm gonna get this thing, get my truck in here, backed up, set it in the bed of my truck so I can back my truck into the garage so I can move the engine stand into the garage, get it off this gravel. This thing ain't going anywhere on gravel. And get this thing up and start taking it apart and see how bad it is or how good it is. I think it's gonna be okay. I just hope the bearings don't look bad. And if they do, then we'll just put new bearings in it, I guess. But, all right, let's get this thing loaded up. Let's get started tearing this thing down. I want to get the valley cover, valve covers back off of it, balancer front cover. We'll go ahead and get the oil pan off of it. Go ahead and pop the heads off of it. Kind of get it torn down to basically do the short block. This is a real junkyard deal. I didn't go somewhere and pay $2 grand for this or anything like that. I spent all day, actually on my birthday, pulling this out of the junkyard with that transmission out of that 2002 Escalade. So this is a real deal. Pick a pull, wrench apart, whatever, junkyard deal. Let's get some tools and we'll get taking this thing apart here. Alrighty. Get these guys off here. Yeah, and as you can see, inside of this engine, surprisingly clean for as many miles. It surprised me anyways. Maybe that's what I should expect, but one more. Okay. Oh yeah, a little bit of water. And show you the bottom of this guy. Not bad at all. I've seen these and they've been just nasty. Like the Blazer. Let me get the plug out of this so I can drain what oil is left in it, / water. There we go. Kind of a little combo platter of deliciousness. We'll just let that think about it. And there goes the breaker. Dang it. Son of a biscuit. All right, moment of truth. Let's pop one of the heads off. Just got these guys all out or loose. Yep, I got it. I think I got it. There we go. I'm off of there. Okay. Whoopsie, forgot to pull the push rods out. And we'll take a look at this guy here. This one here, our left side. This was the hole that had a little bit of carbon fouling on the plug. It looks like definitely a little more on there. Maybe I don't know, maybe the valve's got a little more. Definitely not as clean as the others, so something there. But overall, this looks pretty dang good. It's encouraging. Maybe we don't have junk for a motor for once. Yeah, we'll get that out of there. There you go, flat top. Definitely an LQ9, no dish there. Let's get in here with the light, see what our cylinder walls look like. A little surface rust from me washing it, no biggie, that'll come right off. We'll wipe that down here in a minute with maybe some WD-40. I mean, I don't know. It's got cross hatching visible there, if you can see it. I guess that means it's not worn smooth or not worn slick, so that's good. Okay, well, I'm pumped so far. This looks good. This looks promising. Keep going and hopefully our luck stays the same. Welcome back, everybody. We're here another day with our S10 to see if we can turn this thing into a drag racing machine or just a better piece of junk. One of the two, I'm not sure. But as we left it yesterday, we were in the middle of a little bit of tear down here. Today I'm going to go ahead, pull a rod cap, pull a main cap, take a look and see how those look. And then we'll work on getting our balancer or pulley or whatever they are on an LS off of here so we can get the front plate off, get this guy resealed up. And we had a parts arrival today, so we got a new camshaft for this bad boy too, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. Got some new tools here to do this. My other stuff just isn't quite right for this, so go ahead and pull these guys out. Okay, let's hope for the best. Okay. Okay. All right, the suspense is killing everyone, I know. You just get your comically long pry bar here and give her a little pop. Yeah, I've seen better, but I've seen worse. It's definitely had some trash run through it, but no brass. Kind of see what we're working with. Maybe that'll focus. A little bit of wear in there. I can maybe barely feel it with my fingernail. And same on the crank. She's had some, stop that. She's had a little trash, but you know, for what we're doing, I think it's okay. Go on, get in there, don't be shy, take a look. A little bit of a groove there, but it's not terrible. Seen way worse. Again, worn, but not awful. Actually not bad. A little bit of, you know, shiny here and there, but no brass. Nothing too bad there, so I am gonna run it. And now that we're gonna work on trying to get that balancer off, I got this new tool I just told you about. This is a OMT Orion Motor Tech harmonic balancer, adjustable 3-jaw puller kit. And we're gonna give this a shot and see how it goes. It had good reviews, so just pretty beefy kind of 3-jaw puller setup here. Oh, stay in there. And the center screw, and you've got these rods that go down in the center hole in the crankshaft, different lengths. I just kind of played with this just to see, and it seemed like the longest rod is going to be what we need. So let's go ahead and get the camera set up and see if we can make this thing work. So first thing you got to do is take this rod, slide that guy in, and these are drilled pretty deep. And then it slides up in the center of this bolt here. That's what it looks like. So we'll slide that guy in. There's these 3 little ears on the back of this balancer / pulley that these have to grab onto. And so that's our goal here. I feel like we've got it centered. All right, well, all thing left to do is hit it with some impact and see what happens. What size we think that is? Now it's bottomed out. Almost. So that's the trick. That longer rod just allowed too much flex coming out of that hole, and it bent it a little bit, but it's still very usable. But looks like this is a 2-step process. So I'm going to get the longer one now that we've extended all we can do with this next to longest one. And hopefully now that it's moving, it'll go ahead and come out the rest of the way. Let's just see. There we go. There we go. Just that easy. Oh, I'll go ahead and link this guy in the description of the video if you need to get you one. If you got an LS you're working on, or I'm sure there's a million other things that use this kind of setup here. But I'll put that Amazon link in the description. And pull our oil pump off. Yeah, we got a little bit of, a little bit of slop in there. It's not, See that now. We'll compare that once we get the new chain on. But just for reference, now we kind of know what we got. We've definitely got a little bit there. That might be a degree of timing, you don't know. So. You don't have to pull the lifters to replace the cam on one of these things. You just spin them around and a couple revolutions. Get the lifters pushed up all the way, and the cam should come in and out on its own. So do that. There's probably a round and a half, couple rounds. We should be good there. Yeah, it's good and free now. Yep. Okay. All right. Wish me luck. Come on, cam bearings. Stay in one piece. Easy. Just be gentle with her. You don't want to nick up your cam bearings. It's a lot softer material than the camshaft itself, so very easy to do. Just take your time. No hurry. And there we go. One removed stock camshaft. Y'all want to look at the cam bearings? I don't necessarily want to. What's in that sloppy mechanics? Rule number one, never look at the cam bearings. All right, the suspense is killing me. There's some brass. Yep, a little bit. Can't really see up in there. Whatever, it's dirt. We got some dirt in there from cleaning this thing. We're gonna have to get in here really good with some brake clean and try to clean this out best I can. Another thing you're supposed to probably do is replace the lifters. I'm not doing that because LS7 lifters are not cheap. And this engine's kind of like a party. It's not here for a long time, it's here for a good time. Those feel fine. Okay, and I think I figured out how you deal with this sprocket, crank sprocket. It's that you just leave it on there. I'm not going to a double row chain. I'm just keeping the single row, so I don't need to change it. Takes another special puller, which I don't have and I'm not gonna get. The teeth look good. I don't see any crazy uneven wear. They're not like hook shaped or excessively worn or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Now for the fun part, we get to start putting it back together. Got everything cleaned up. I kind of cleaned some of the gasket surfaces here a little bit. And we got our new bump stick, our new Summit camshaft, proudly sponsored by Summit. No, they didn't sponsor it. My wallet sponsored all these parts, but they did give me this hat for free. So that's pretty cool. Maybe one day, Summit. We're gonna start off by just lubing this guy down here. And she is the sticky kind. Just want to get it started in here. Comes with some lube too, some kind of, I don't know, gray stuff. I've always just used this Ultra Slick. It works good. Probably doesn't matter. We'll just use a liberal application here. Get these lobes good. I would say use whatever you got. Okay. Too much, way too much. Probably want to know what size cam this is also. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. It's big. I'll give you that much. It is ridiculously big. Got that part. Let's go ahead and work her in here. Carefully, carefully. Come on. There we go. Should be good. Let her run it around there. A little bit there. Just for good measure. And journal there. Okay. Get this guy in the rest of the way. I need one of them handles, one of them fancy stick handle jobbers. And last one. And we're in. What you want. Kind of spin her around here, turn or two. It's in there nice and free. This is a China lock plate off Amazon. It came with its own bolts. These holes are countersunk. These are not, so that's interesting. But it had great reviews, so I don't know what's the worst that could happen. Maybe we use the factory bolts. Sorry about your luck, Chinese spacer bolts, but I don't take any chances on that. And I've thoroughly cleaned all this with brake cleaner, parts washer. I mean, how much movement is that supposed to have? What's the torque spec on those, like 18? Let's look it up. Come on, torque them down. Everything looks flush. I can turn the hand by hand. It roughly looks right. Okay, good enough. All right, let's put the timing chain on. Single roller timing chain, because that's what I bought and it was cheaper. It is a Cloy's brand, so it's a name brand. So at least I got that. That's more than you're normally gonna get out of me. Okay, and we have expertly centered that up and that right there to where they are. I think the technical term in the machine shop they use on this is dead nuts. So we are dead nuts lined up. So we will use our pre-lubed slash I didn't clean them cam sprocket bolts. I'm sure these are, I don't know, 18 pounds probably also. Let's go ahead and torque these guys with an impact. Torqued, no, just kidding. Let me verify this real quick. 18 to 26. How do you guys interpret 18 to 26? Do you say that's a spread of 8, so half that's 4 plus 18, so 22? We'll call it 22. Sure. 22. Done. And let's take a gander at this while we're at it. I know this is really the stuff you want to see. See where we're at now. See our little nub here lined up with our dot there. See that? Get in there. Boop, boop. That's better. The other one wasn't terrible, but that is much better. We don't have half the slack we had before, if that even. So just a little bit, that's what you want. That's nice and tight, and that'll work. So next up, we have got to put our oil pump on, and then we can do our front cover. Okay, oil pump. Oil pump. This is a melling pump, so this is the good stuff here. It's not high volume because the regular one was cheaper, and they got enough oil pressure anyways. These things have great oil pressure. You don't need high volume. Let's go ahead and snag our pre-lubricated bolts out of the old oil pump. This is kind of one of the neat things about an LS over a small block is this is a big improvement over the old style oil pump. So these LSs remind me a lot of small block. I mean, there are a lot of similarities to them. I mean, they use the same, I think it's the same rod and main bearings as a small block Chevrolet, Gen 1. Should clarify, this is a small block. So that's kind of neat. But these have like the best of everything that all the small block guys wanted forever. Like, who needs a 4-bolt main when you got 6 of them? And you got this girdled block, so you don't have any main caps sitting up here that are hanging on for dear life when you're twisting the hell out of it. So that's pretty cool. Nice roller rockers from the factory. Roller cam from the factory. 1-piece rear main seal, 1-piece front seal. Pans that don't leak as bad, arguably. Covers that don't leak as bad, I should say. 15-degree cylinder heads versus 23-degree cylinder heads. That's going to flow a lot more air. I think these all had hypertectic or hyper-eutectic pistons from the factory. These have powder metal rods in them, and they get even better in Gen 4. Basically just a hopped up version of the original. And there's a special sequence to installing your oil pump, and there actually is a special sequence to this. This is not just a joke. Crank it 360 degrees, let it center up with these bolts finger tight, and then tighten it down, 18 foot-pounds. Here's my ratchet, Captain. Okay, let's go ahead and rotate this another round now that she's tight, and just make sure that looks right. Cam turns, that's a good sign. Nothing bindy, grindy, and weird. We'll take that. I think it goes like that, doesn't it? No, maybe it goes like this. Yeah, there we go. Sure, that'll work. And just like that with TV Magic, the windage tray and the pickup are installed. These are all torqued down, 106 inch-pounds, 18 foot-pounds. Had to tweak this guy a little bit. This is a Chinese setup for a low-profile muscle car pan, so these are aftermarket. But it works. We got to get this guy on. So first step on your front cover is going to be just put it on with the new gasket. You don't need any silicone on it. Finger tight, want a little bit of movement. And basically, since we don't have the fancy tools that they use at the factory on this, we're going to use the balancer to center it. So your seal's got to be centered on the crank. Your seal's got to be, that Monster Energy's kicking back. Your seal's got to be centered on the crank snout so that, you know, doesn't knock the seal out of it. So the way we're going to do it is with the balancer, with the dampener. We're just going to put it on and install it, and then once it's installed, then we'll go through here and we'll torque these bolts down, make sure everything's lined up, and then you're good to go. Got a new tool for that also. This is a OMT, what is this? OMT Long Reach Harmonic Balancer Puller Set. I honestly don't remember how I installed it on my last engine. It's been a minute, but I don't know, a bunch of long studs and a thing and a spinny bearing widget, And so that should do it. So we'll get set up here, see if we can do this. You can also heat these things. I know people put them on a hot plate or put them in the oven or whatever and put them on. Makes it a lot easier. I'm not really gonna take the time and mess with doing all that and fire up the oven. Shit, it's still 90 degrees outside and it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't need that. So we're just gonna try to put it on with a good tool. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Tell you what I'm gonna give you, snakes. No, I'm gonna put some anti-seize on this balancer thing while I'm at it. A little anti-seize probably won't hurt anybody. If a little's good, a lot's better. So we're gonna go ahead and slip her up on there like that. They do say not to lubricate the outside edge of this for whatever reason. I'm sure there's some valid point because everybody says don't do that, so we're not doing that. There you go, thread this guy in there. Yep, there we go, now we're working. Okay, no weird gaps. Check it again. No weird gaps. Yep, right on it. Okay, now go ahead and just torque them down. There she is, finished product-ish for today. Let's see, we need to do the rear cover and rear seal before we can put the pan on it. We'll do that cover, do the rear main seal, put that back on, get that lined up here, then we'll put the pan on and then we'll be done on the bottom side. But I think that's gonna do it. Let's call it a day. It's late, it's almost midnight. We'll be back at it somewhat bright and early tomorrow. Lead fell through on the heads I had on Marketplace, so I went and got my own set of $7.99 heads for our 6.0 LQ9. Oh, and a couple bucket seats out of a Blazer since the bench seat in that thing is trash. I already pulled the engine off the stand here, as you can see from where we left off yesterday. I pulled the rear cover off of it, already installed the new rear main seal, new rear cover gasket, cleaned that all up, put that on. There's a million ways online if you want to look on how to do that. A million opinions on how to do a rear main seal, so I didn't really get into it. And this part here, flex plate, O'Reilly just dropped this thing off. This is a 4L80 flex plate, so this is supposed to be what we need. I guess I was anticipating my torque converter having a dual bolt pattern for a 350 and a 400. I plan on running a 350, and that's what I got the converter for, but it says it's for both. But it doesn't have dual pattern on the tab, so I did have to go in and elongate these 3 holes and get that done. I just used a carbide here on a die grinder. We got our Junkyard $7.99 heads cleaned up. I got that done yesterday. Turned out pretty good. They cleaned up pretty nice. I did have 3 studs broken off. One of them on this head was sticking out, so I was able to get it out pretty easy just with some vice grips. But this one was a bear. I spent a lot of time yesterday afternoon and then this morning finishing it up. I ended up having to drill out the front and the rear one, and it didn't go the best. This one, well, I ended up having to go to AutoZone early this morning and get a damn helicoil for both of them. But anyways, now we got to get in here, clean it up again because I got metal shavings and crap everywhere. And we'll go ahead and get our valve springs swapped out and get these heads ready to put on our LQ9 short block. Here's something else that was fun that I ran across yesterday when I was trying to check these. This is one of the bolts from the hardware kit that came with our stainless Chinese headers that came with the truck. The headers look nice. They look like they'll fit okay. I haven't tried them in the truck yet. The bolts look nice. They look good, but if you'll notice a slight problem, they don't fit. They don't fit the damn heads. They'll fit these holes up here. But those aren't what we're using. We need these right here. These are M8 125s. I checked these with my bolt checker, and I'll show you. It's kind of funny. Let's see. M8, nope. M10, very loose. What about 3/8? Yep. These little bastards are 3/8 16. Now, why on earth would you send a set of LS swap heads or headers with 3/8 16 bolts? I don't. Some of the stuff with this Chinese stuff just doesn't make any sense. It's the second time I've run into that here recently where they put standard bolts in stuff that should have been metric. So I don't know. Maybe the Chinese just think that everything we do is still standard. I don't know. Anyway, so got another set of those on order from the old Amazon. And I went ahead and knocked off a
a couple of valve springs. We'll get this thing started. Replacing springs, guides. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little quickie valve job too. Got some valve grinding compound here. Exhaust valve, you know, could use a little cleanup. It's not terrible. I don't see anything terrible in there. Intake valve looks pretty good. Still nice and shiny. One little speck there, but they don't look too bad. So we'll get in here and clean these up. Do a little quick, you know, quickie valve job on them. Seat's got a little bit of gunk in there. Just clean that out, and then get these seals and springs done. Okay, we got all our valves lapped in. We got a nice, nice, smooth, consistent finish there on that edge. Even the exhaust valves cleaned up pretty good. I could have probably spent a little more time on them just to really get them perfect, but this is good enough. Without keeping the seat from getting too wide. They don't look bad at all. The seats in here actually look very good. So, kind of curious what happened here. Interesting story. Looks like something got in the cylinder at some point and nicked it up there. And here's our cleaned up cylinder head. We just got the valve guides removed. Those just pull right off with a pair of pliers. Nothing, no trick to those. Springs are off. Everything is ready to go. We got our valves lapped in, so we're going to go ahead and start putting our new valve springs on. Got it pretty clean here. I'm not worried about a little bit of dirt and crap here and there. Mostly just wanted to get the metal shavings from drilling around here, get those out, and be sure and get all this valve lapping compound off of the valve seats, so, and the valves. So we got that done. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get some valve springs installed. And just like that, we got one cylinder head ready to go. New valve springs installed, so we are ready to go. Keepers, guides, new valve seals. So valves lapped in. So this is basically, I don't know, it's basically a brand new head as far as I'm concerned. And just like that, with the magic of TV and the power vested in me by the state of Texas, we have a set of rebuilt $7.99 heads. Good valve springs, fresh valve job. She's cleaned up and she is ready to rip. All right, let's go ahead and get our China hot rod oil pan on here. This actually, I don't know if I mentioned or not, this came with the truck. This, the engine mounts, the headers, and the truck, all in one package deal. I'm gonna go ahead and gently apply a little bit of RTV down in the corners of this, if I can, yeah, get it out. There we go. Just gonna put a little bit right there where the front cover meets the block and the rear cover meet the block. Drop down all the way. I think it did. Oh, and you may be asking, why are you putting the oil pan on it? You don't even have the top end on it. Because it's heavy. Once I get the heads on this thing, it's going to be hard to flip it back over, get the pan on, then wrench it back around. Try not to throw out my back again. So I figure we'll do the bottom end and then we'll flip it over and do the heads while it's still a little bit more manageable. So that's why. One thing I did not mention is when you're putting this pan on, not to get the pan further back than the face of the block, because that's where the bell housing bolts up. It also mounts to the oil pan up here. I just took a flat straight edge, and it's a little harder to do with the flex plate on it. Probably better off doing it without the flex plate on, but I have a flat straight edge and I just laid it on here, got it lined up. And then I took dial calipers and measured the gap between the flex plate and the pan on both sides, and they're within like 5 or 6 thousandths of each other. All right, oil pan is torqued. We got 18 foot-pounds around the outside, 106 inch-pounds here. Ended up with 3 extra bolts. Don't know why. It was nice of them. They did send a bolt to hold the dipstick tube in, so that's cool. 1 random green O-ring. Feel my L4, my S1 barking again. What in the world is going on with the lights in here? Power's flickering. Damn alien invasion. Head gaskets. They're marked front on the front, so don't mess it up. This, folks, is why you double check everything. I didn't think this looked right when I laid it on here. This gasket is smaller than the bore diameter, and I checked, and sure enough, this gasket kit says it's for a 4.8 or a 5.3.
Let me get some head gaskets ordered so we can get the heads on this thing and come back and work on that here in a little bit. Dang it, it's costing myself money. We're back. Correct head gaskets. $100 and some odd later. Is this clean? Yep, ready to go. Another fun fact, head bolt kit is only for one side. So I need that too after I just made a run to O'Reilly to get new head gaskets. I'm really off my game here lately. Anyways, so we got to torque these guys down. First, second, third stage, blah, blah, blah. Torque to yield, some foot-pounds, some of that stuff. It's all online if you want to find it. Welcome back. Another day working on the S10. Well, really working on the engine. Still not sponsored by Summit, but we did get a little bit carried away last night. I didn't film any of it because I was kind of in the middle of the groove. Here's what we got. We've got a mostly completed engine. Our 6-liter is basically done. I need to get the accessories ready today, water pump, all that stuff. But yeah, it looks all right considering it's just, you know, kind of half-assed thrown together and cleaned up and whatnot. Got the starter on. That's the starter. It was off my brown truck when I got that motor out of a junkyard. The one on this one was actually broken. This motor came out of a wrecked Escalade, and something hit the starter and cracked it. So little adapter widgets in. We've got our carb intake on this guy here. We already did the rear main. We got our oil pan on. It's coming along. Valley cover. Water pump installed. Heater hose bypass installed. Made a little bit more progress. We've got the motor mounts on the engine here. Got those guys bolted up and ready to go. Not entirely sure if they're on there right or not. Can't really find any clear instructions online, and there's none on the package, so we'll figure that out. Did get the motor mounts in the truck-ish. They're not tight, but they're, you know, in there just to get things going. Apparently these are virtually impossible to get to from the factory. There's fuel lines that come out here. If you take those out and knock that grommet out, you can get to it with a wrench there. And I had to make a little bit of an access window here with a hole saw. I drilled a couple hole saw holes to get to it, but so that worked. All right, let's go ahead and work on getting some of the junk out of this thing. It won't stick to that, will it? Wiring and the headliner and all this crud. Stereo wires, what's this? I think that's seatbelt buzzer. Don't need that where we're going, because we're going fast. This wiring adds weight. Good stereo wire though. Might have to save on that. What was this, HVAC controller? Hey-oh, shots fired. Don't need that. That's disgusting. Rat nest, pencil. This has an OBD port? What the hell? Oh, what's this holding this in the back? Nothing? Oh, I gotta get ready. I'm about to catch the rat turds. Here it comes. Oh, that's not too bad. I was worried I was gonna catch a rat turd shower. This is disgusting. This mouse nest thing. We got a good stereo faceplate. The old single din. Might need that in something, you never know. Wow, this is some expert wiring here. Level 10 stuff before I cut that. Yep, antenna, pretty certain. Front speaker, rear speaker. We'll go ahead and hang on to those. You never know. You never know. Maybe I'll put some boom booms in it at some point. There's what's growing in the ashtray. Get you some of that. Ooh, the baseball bat keychain. That's fun. Some 22 shells. Green pennies. Ooh, nail clippers. A couple dimes. Another instant rebate truck. This is a cigarette lighter. I guess it's worth saving. You never know. Although it is wired in with electrical tape and probably questionable of safety. I don't know. I'll leave it in there for now. Brand new razor blade. All right. I guess we gotta get amongst it here. That's a big nest. I just keep pulling rat's nest and den out of here. This crap. This was all behind the dash. This stuff. This stuff. There's a glove. This was under the dash, chewed up. This fabric. What a mess. This is just... And it's still like hay and crap packed up all up in there. Just junk everywhere. I mean, just bad. I'm gonna pull the dash off this thing to get all the nest out of there, because I know it's just gonna blow out everywhere as soon as we get this thing running. And that's not gonna be good. There you go. Pack rat nest. All this crap from out from underneath the dash, just blowing that out. I vacuumed up a bunch of it already, just everywhere. As you can see, it's escalated a little bit. I ended up having to pull the cluster out, trim out of there, but we finally got all the rat nest out from behind the dash. Well, back at the shop with the new to me transmission. Got this from a friend of mine. He doesn't really know a lot about it. He got it with El Camino project, and it was in the bed of the truck. The car, I don't think it had a drivetrain in it. It went to a shop somewhere to get LS swapped. Long story short, it didn't happen. He ended up with the car doing an LS swap and had this transmission sitting around. I asked him the other day, hey, you don't know anybody that's got a turbo 350 laying around, do you? And he said, I got that one. I said, is it any good? He said, I don't know. And I said, how much you want for it? So we made a deal. We made $100 if it ends up being a core and it's no good, or $250 if it ends up being good. So he let me take it, try it out, see what it does, and you know, hey, it's worth it. If it's just a core, it's worth $100 for a core. So I figured, you know, $250 is worth the gamble if it works. I did pull the pin on it over there, and it's not ideal. I don't know if it's bad, but it's not ideal is I think the terminology we're going for. And I'll bring in here and I'll show you why. Don't be bashful. Get in over here. You know you want to see this. And I just put a few bolts on here to hold this guy back on. And we did drain most of the fluid out of it. The fluid didn't look bad, but as you can see, it had a little bit of water in it. It was much more separated. It wasn't milky like this until I drove home. It was nice, good red fluid with a little bit of like separate kind of water milkiness. And then we got some clutch material in there, which is, you know, is it bad? I don't know. Is it good? Probably not. But it's not, you know, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. I haven't scooped any of this out or anything, so this, you're kind of seeing what, you know, what it's got. So it might be okay. I mean, you know, it's worth a shot. I figure I'll clean this guy out and we'll, you know, we'll give it the old Craigslist rebuild, as they say, the old marketplace miracle. Change the filter on it, change the gasket. I'm out of brake cleaner. I'd say we'd hit it with some brake clean, but we probably won't because I'm out. So I want to kind of dig in here and see if this has a shift kit already. I would imagine there's a decent chance it does. I'm seeing a number here and a gold plate. I want to look into that a little bit further. Might save me some money on a shift kit. And I do have a good B&M deep pan over there, another buddy gave me. So that's pretty handy. We'll swap that out and put the shiny one on there, you know, make us feel good about it. Kind of scared to look at this, being honest. Well, there you go. There's some dirt and some junk, but it's not a heavy buildup of stuff. There's a zinc coated plate in there. I'm gonna guess that's indications of some swappage. All right, here's what I found. The only thing on the internet about it, somebody else asked the same question, bought a transmission, had a separator plate with those numbers on it. Changing the separator plate's not something that's done with a rebuild. If it's gold anodized and it's from an aftermarket shift kit, whether or not a complete kit has been installed, you would have to pull the valve body, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I thought. I'm gonna assume it's some sort of shift kit. In doing so, I think I'm gonna just leave it alone, clean it out, change the fluid, and I don't know, see what happens. Time to go ahead and get our pan on here, and I'll show you what we got. Yeah, check this guy out. I guess I'm gonna clean this one too. It is slightly used, but that's got a drain plug, so when this transmission shits the bed, at least we can drain the fluid out of it and maybe save it, so that's cool. Brand new, nice and shiny. Chrome. So I ought to take a 10th off probably. Trans gel. You know when you're bringing this stuff out, it's getting serious. Ain't nobody want to see this if you can avoid it. That means you're knee deep in a transmission build usually. Is it gonna reach? Yeah, I guess that's enough threads. Yeah, that's got it. I see the gasket. I think we're good. think we're good. G-U-D good on this one. The hit, do it, extra temperature. Wait, there's none of them in English. Oh, here it is on the side, okay. Seal or O-ring, all right. Push the pan bolts through the, okay, yeah. Okay, I got an oar in there, so I'm good. I'm good, we got an oar. Sometimes it's the little things in life, like the oars. Wait, let's see. Which way does this sumbitch go? Other way, right? There we go. I don't have any chrome bolts, unfortunately. This is what it is, I guess. Could have been a few extra horsepower. This one's kind of got some, what was that, Chevy orange? That one's a little cross-thready. That's what you want. This sumbitch probably adds a couple quarts of fluid, so it's going to cost me in the long run. But considering how I cheaped out and didn't get an external cooler, at least not yet, maybe it'll be to my advantage this time. Hey Siri, what's the torque spec for the transmission pan on a turbo hydromatic 350 transmission? Yeah, you can use ChatGPT any day now. Typically 8 to 12 foot-pounds, but also check important info for mistakes. Well, that's reassuring. All right, how important is your transmission pan? It's not that important, is it? Look over Titan, kinda. That's what the book said, 10 foot-pounds. Okay, and done. Good morning, we're back at it with the S10 build. As you can tell, I went ahead and rebuilt the front here. We got that cleaned up the rest of the way and painted. So we're ready to go. I went ahead and got the torque converter in this guy last night. Got him all set up, ready to go, pans on it, engine's ready. So we got to get these two guys mounted together and see if we can stab them in this truck here shortly. Come on, trans motion. How big a gap are we gonna have is the question. How big a gap between her front teeth? There we go. And I'm gonna put the bell housing bolts in and suck the engine to the transmission with, no, not yet. I will probably do that, but not yet. So now I'm gonna pull this thing up here, and it's just a tiny gap. I'm not actually sucking it up on here with the bolts. All right, now we gotta get under here and check our gap to the torque converter. Let me look at the specs on that and see what they recommend. Well, 1/8 to 3/16 gap on between the converter and the flex plate bolts. So let me work on that. Not really anything you can see in here while I do that. So I'm gonna measure it, shim that appropriately, get these tightened, and next step we'll come back, see if we can get this guy in. All right, at last, I think we're ready to try to put this guy in. I just took a feeler gauge set on this and just stacked them all up. Measured the stack I had with my dial calipers till I went on the high end. I went to 3/16 and I couldn't get it between the flex plate and the converter. And then I took a couple of them out, which was like, I think a 17 and an 18 or a 16 and a 17. Anyways, ended up with about 150 thousandths stack, and I was able to just get that in there. So that's right in the middle between an 1/8 and 3/16. So that should be what we want. So I didn't have to add any washers or anything, and just torqued them down. I think it said 50 foot-pounds for the hardware I've got, and hopefully that's right. Well, I guess here we go. Let's see if we can get this thing in. All right, little snag here. I kind of was expecting, I had read online that you do have to lift the cab typically to get the motor in. That looks like that's what the case is. We can't quite clear the cross member, and I'm not gonna start notching it. And then have enough room here and the tilt. We just can't get everything jammed in the hole the way it needs to be. So I think what we can do, I think if we can pick the cab up, then we can level this thing out, scoot her down past her, just kind of like when the pilot, he's coming in, he pulls up at that last minute, he goes, call that the flare. When he has the flare, we're going to try to flare this thing right in there once we get this cab picked up. So what size is it though? 3/4? Yep. Okay. We got a pretty decent little gap there now, so maybe, just maybe, we can get her in there now.
Maybe. I think it's gonna go. There she goes. Come on, baby, careful. Not too hard. Let's try to get this thing back a little more still. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay. Now we can go down and in maybe a squash. We're gonna risk it a little bit more before we take the coils off. Still gonna probably regret it. There we go. She slipped past. Well, what did I get hung on? I'm like hung up like a show dog. These mounts need to be swapped. At least we got it past the cab. Let's start. And we got a shiny new frame. Smells new. Probably paint that part down there too while I'm at it. Probably won't. Ah, downage, more downage. Might have put a little dent in the firewall. Might have. Yeah, definitely did. Oops. So ignore that. We'll touch that up and nobody will ever even know that happened. Oh, found the other washer. Don't quit looking. Thought this was gonna be a seamless install. There we go. Man, I sure dinged that up. Kinda hate that happened. Messing with this transmission cross member, and I honestly have no idea if this is supposed to work or not, but I'm gonna try it. It's pretty much just a, you know, hope and a prayer at this point. But you never know, you might get lucky. Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? We have our alignment tool out for the cross member. Let me just see how this is gonna do. I bet this might work. Oh yeah, there we go. The real question's gonna be, can I get exhaust in this thing? Our mount gave up the ghost. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she kind of disintegrated here on us. So it's probably better it did that now and not later. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. Actually, I think I'm gonna sit it down here, make sure it's gonna fit. And then if it does, then I'll jack this thing back up, take it out, and we'll go get a new mount for this thing. Well, here's what we have so far. We do have to get the transmission mount and get that in, but everything is clearing. The oil pan is very close to the cross member there, but we do have a little bit of room. We can wiggle it back just a skosh if we need to. Same thing here. It's I don't know if you can see it, but it's very tight, but there is a little bit of a daylight in there, and we've got plenty of adjustment here to move it back a little bit. And we do seem to have enough clearance on the firewall. We can give it a little bit if we need to. So I think we're getting close to kind of having a preliminary fit here. Next biggest thing is the transmission mount. Go ahead and get that in for sure in the back. And then go ahead and snug up the front mounts. And before I do the fronts, I'm gonna go ahead and put the headers on it and see how crazy that's gonna get. I'm more worried about this driver's side, obviously. With the steering shaft, see if we need to take the cover off of it, any other challenges we're gonna have. I'm gonna grab a header and just kind of see what we got there. Then grab some lunch, swing by O'Reilly and get a transmission mount. Hopefully they have one in stock for this little unit. And then hopefully we can move on to the next things. Well, there it is. The factory cross member is in, all tightened up. New mount is in, transmission's mounted. And in a stroke of good luck, the drive shaft is the right length. It is perfect. So rear U-joint was trash, so I do have to swap the U-joint out. I got that picked up also. So we'll clean that up, I'll clean the snout up and put that U-joint in. But right now, let's go bash on the firewall and see if we can make some clearance for this header on the passenger side. Now we're pretty close here, and this header fits pretty good. It just kind of catches this lip right here. And this is a huge flap. I mean, it goes up in there that far. If I would have known that before I put the motor in, I would have just come in here and just cut that off. But I don't really want to pull it back out at this point. And I'll just we can just roll it under. It'll be fine. Try this technique and see if this will do anything. Yeah, that did something. See if I can not lose a digit doing this. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, there we go. That should give us all kinds of header clearance now. Well, it's better. We'll just have to put the header on and see. Well, believe it or not, our header bolt, or headers actually, this side has gone on pretty good. Back one's a little trickier to get to, but we got our handy wobble socket and extension. Not too bad. Of course, this probably wouldn't be so easy with the fender on. Yep, those are tight. Our helicoil's held up. That back one was the one we helicoiled, and this front one also. This was a little snug getting it on, but it went. I think these are gonna work out okay. I don't wanna speak too soon because I haven't got the other side in yet. Steering shaft, as you can see, I cut the cover off of it, and it was actually pretty easy to do. I just took a box knife with a brand new blade and just went down the top and slit the whole thing. And this header is on. Went ahead and pulled the shaft off, or pulled it loose, and dimpled this one right here, kind of smacked it with a socket a few times, got clearance, so everything clears now. Everything's tight, touched up, so we should be good to move on to the other side. These are the new Chinese bolts I had to order to replace the first set of Chinese bolts that came with the Chinese headers, because the Chinese bolts came with the Chinese headers were 3/8 16 bolts, and it needed Chinese bolts. So all that said to say that I got new Chinese bolts. Okay, that doesn't fit. Good. Still doesn't fit. What are we hitting here? Is it closer? No. What's it hitting? It's still hitting the damn firewall, isn't it? Yep, plenty in the front, not quite enough in the back. It's like a reverse mullet of headers. Was that a skullet? Compensation mullet? That's what we got. So I guess that the problem is this floorboard right here is still hitting. I wonder if I get under there and just beat the piss out of it from the bottom side, if that would work better. I think we made some progress with the pry bar here. I was able to just get this guy here, get it started, pry it back, and bend part of it, and then work it over here, work the rest. Bing, bang, boom. All of a sudden, I'm an exhaust shop. Way too far still. What is going on here? What are we hitting on now? It's better. That's about half of it. And that's the thing about things, is two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. If it could, things would be a lot better. But that's not how it works, so. What do? You just beat the piss out of it. That's what you do. When in doubt, burn it out. Okay. Now let's see if we can get a good whack at it. It's burning. I think it's just seam sealer. Yeah, it smells like seam sealer. Isn't that a Nirvana album? Smells like seam sealer. Yeah, yep, there we go. Okay. Ooh, I'm bleeding from somewhere. Ah, that's weird. I thought I felt something. Ooh, that popped. It's my wrist. Can we do that? Ah, did something. Maybe that was a trick. Short and fast strokes. I didn't say it, y'all did. It's hot in here. It's still not enough. It's very close though, very close. Let's try that. You don't need to go to the gym, you just need to install a set of headers. That'll burn all the calories you need. Probably a little bit less bloodshed at the gym though. Not necessarily, I guess. I mean, it clears. What else do you need? I suppose that's good enough. Well, that was easy. Ugh. Yep, looking much better. Cleaner on up. Cleaner on up. Get a little in there, a little on the spring. Cool. And touch up the firewall here like it never happened. The old frame, a little light dusting. It's like a snowstorm in October. Just a little light dusting. Nothing serious yet. And go ahead. Finish that off. Okay. Well, I think that's going to wrap up part one for our 6-liter LS swapped S10 build.
got the engine built, transmission, everything together. We've got the engine mounted in the truck. We got our headers clearance, steering clear. So now everything's in, bolted in. Last night I went ahead and tightened up all the motor mount bolts. Transmission mount is tight. So it's in there. Everything seems to fit. So now we just got to build out exhaust, electrical, we got to plumb it, we got a fuel system to do, we got to put the front clip on, we got to do the seats, we got to do the shifter, so not that much work to do really. But that's where I'm going to leave this one for now. Thanks everybody for watching, liking, subscribing, comments, all that stuff. It's really cool, really helps out. I will link some of these parts and whatnots in the description of the video if you want to check out that stuff through the Amazon affiliate link. Gets me a few % of commission if you want to buy any of it. And I got to get back on to part 2, so stick around. We'll get these all coming to you so you can kind of see this. So there'll probably be a part 2, and hopefully that should be everything to wrap this thing up. So again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you on part 2.